Today we're making cheesy miso garlic bread, aka my magic bread, because it transforms anybody into a giant kid ready to rip and tear into this cheesy pull-apart bread. We're gonna start by prepping the bread first, which I'm using an old family recipe, but you can use any of your favorite sourdough or any crusty bread that has a thick crust on the outside and tender in the middle, because it has a nice contrast of flavor and it really holds the bread together when everyone's ripping and tearing the bread apart. So now we're gonna prep the bread and create little diamond shapes. I'm just gonna cut it maybe about an inch thick, and then I'm not gonna cut all the way through because I want the bread to hold in the bottom, and then everybody's just gonna pull from the top. So just in a crisscross pattern. Cool, so my bread is now all cut up. We're gonna transfer our bread to a piece of foil just to make our lives a little bit easier. And this is just gonna help keep the bread holding together when we stuff it with all the miso butter and all the cheese and everything. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it sticks together, we're good. All right, let's set this aside and we'll make our miso butter now. So we have our unsalted butter, and now I'm just gonna add my white miso paste, which I prefer white miso paste for this recipe because it's more mild in flavor, and I like the way that it blends with the garlic and the butter. Or white miso paste. And then I'm using enough garlic to kill a vampire here. To make this really quick, I'm using minced garlic, but roasted garlic would be really good here too if you have the time. Just a whole head of garlic, wrap it in foil with a little bit of oil, and then roast it until it's golden and soft. The flavor for minced garlic is much more sharp and bold, and roasted garlic is softer, milder, sweeter flavor. So depending on how much time you have and the flavor profile you're going for, you can choose whichever works best for you. And then I'm gonna sprinkle in some parsley because I'm counting that as my vegetables. And garlic powder. And lastly, our freshly grated Parmesan cheese. This is going to add a nuttiness to our miso garlic butter. Now we just mix everything together. Make sure that your butter and your miso paste is softened, because this will make it so much quicker and easier. But if you skipped upper body day and you want to work out, then go in with cold butter. It's up to you. If you didn't have time to leave your butter out on the counter for like an hour or so to soften up, you could just cut them up into like little cubes and then pop them in the microwave in 10-second intervals until it softens. I like it to make it softened butter because I find that it's easier to spread more evenly on the bread than using melted butter. You can also make this ahead of time and roll this up in plastic wrap into a log and slice the butter, or scoop this into 1 tablespoon scoops so they're single servings. And then you can put this literally on anything to upgrade the flavor. But today it's gonna be bread. Now is the fun part. We're gonna start smearing and spreading that miso butter everywhere and start stuffing it with cheese. We're just gonna take some of this miso butter and then open up these little nooks and crannies and just smear it in between the bread. It doesn't have to be perfect because, I mean, worst case scenario, the miso butter gets all over the crust and you have super flavorful crust. So just smear it where between each nook and cranny, so every little bit gets some of that miso butter. We'll go both directions, so we're gonna go down this way and then we'll go this way as well. Now that our garlic bread is all smeared with miso butter, we're gonna stuff it with mozzarella cheese. This is freshly grated. Cold cheese is a lot easier to shred than warm cheese, so keep it in the fridge until you need to shred it, or you can pop it in the freezer just for maybe like 10 minutes or so that it can harden a little bit and it'll be much easier. Kind of tough to stuff it a little bit because the foil is holding it together, but it's better than the bread just being like bleh everywhere. I can usually tell when there's some pieces that need more cheese in between, because if I see clumps of bread a little like fuddy-buddy, like, nah, you guys need to be separated with some cheese in between. This bread is making friends with cheese. Now we're gonna transfer our miso bread over to our baking tray, and we're gonna bake our little baby for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on how golden and crispy you like your bread. But start off with 15 minutes at 360 degrees Fahrenheit. Check on it. If you want it a little bit crunchier, a little extra golden brown, leave it in for a little bit longer, and we'll come back when it's hot, bubbly, and calling your name. So let's bake it. I'm so excited. Okay, let's try it. Still warm. Cheers. Did you hear how crispy that was? The top of the bread is so crunchy, and then the inside is just so pillowy soft and absorb all that salty, cheesy miso butter. Oh my gosh. It's garlicky. That crust got so golden brown and crunchy. And the inside is just so tender and absorbed all that buttery, garlicky miso butter. It's perfectly salty, not too salty. And you just get a hint of that like earthy umami from the miso. Once you start, you can't stop. I love the contrast of the super crunchy crust with the soft, tender, soaked in miso butter center. The pull apart, these little cubes, these little pull apart cubes, this is what people go for. And it's glorious, don't get me wrong. But the bottom part too, don't sleep on the bottom part because it gets extra crunchy. And everything from the miso butter just slowly drips down to the bottom. So it's equally as delicious too. This is perfect for parties too. You can prep everything ahead of time, pop up your bread, slather in the miso butter, and then wrap it in foil and keep it in the fridge. And then when you're about ready to eat, just pop it in the oven for like 15-20 minutes until it's nice and golden brown. Everybody's gonna love it. This is what you make when you want something safe that you know everybody's gonna enjoy. I hope you try this. The recipe is in the description, and until next time, toodaloo.